Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Yet this one is going to be quick. I'm starting to fatigue. But this is breaking news. John Kerry may have broken checking volume. Always check volume. John Kerry is working to save the Iran deal. Donald Trump is expected to essentially scuttle the Iran deal. This is an amazing thing that Donald Trump is going to do because the United States was not solely in that deal. You had multiple powers. I think it was like Russia, and I think you had like France and some other nations that were literally a part of that particular deal. And Donald Trump is talking about getting rid of that deal, despite the fact that there are other nations or signatories to that deal. John Kerry has been working behind the scenes trying to save the deal. Problem: he's talking to foreign governments, of Iran specifically, in trying to save that deal. The problem with that is that violates the Logan Act. Now, you say, what is the Logan Act? The Logan Act essentially bars people from working. Think of it this way. States are not allowed to take on international policy. That is the domain of the federal government of the United States, and that is not the domain of anyone else beyond that. The Logan Act forbids regular people from interacting with foreign governments from the standpoint of policy. Like, it's like doing something that's countermanding the policy of the United States government. Almost from the standpoint of almost like being on behalf. It's like a secondary government. It's like you can't serve two masters. If it's the domain of the United States to control U.S. foreign policy, then regular people cannot do it. States can't do it. It's illegal for people to do that. It seems that John Kerry may have violated that particular act. Let's read the article and talk about it just shortly. Let's see. This is Town Hall. Report: John Kerry recently met with Iranian official in an attempt to save the Iran nuclear deal. A Boston Globe report came out Friday evening that former Secretary John Kerry has recently met with the Iranian official in order to save President Obama's signature Iran nuclear deal. This raises serious concerns that John Kerry violated the Logan Act by meeting with a foreign official. This is the Boston Globe. John Kerry bid to save one of his most significant accomplishments as Secretary of State took him to New York on a Sunday afternoon 2 weeks ago, where more than a year after he left office, he engaged in some unusual shadow diplomacy with a top-ranking Iranian official. He sat down at the United Nations with Foreign Minister Javad Zarif to discuss ways of preserving the pact limiting Iran's nuclear weapons program. It was the second time in 2 months that the two met to strategize over salvaging the deal that they've spent 2 years negotiating. During the Obama administration, according to a person briefed on the meetings. With the Iran deal facing its gravest threat since it was signed in 2015, Kerry has been on an aggressive yet stealthily mission to preserve it, using his deep list of contacts gleaned through his time at the top U.S. diplomat to apply pressure to the Trump administration from the outside. President Trump, who has consistently criticized the pact and campaigned in 2016 to scuttle it, faces a March 12th deadline to decide whether to continue abiding by its terms. So, just so we're clear, Donald Trump being somewhat against the program, Donald Trump, in some respects, being expected to scuttle it by the 12th. John Kerry, one of the people who helped essentially get that program in place, the Iran deal. John Kerry, not in government, private citizen. John Kerry, using his contacts as a diplomat to go behind the scenes to try to keep the deal going. Specifically, to try to apply pressure from the outside. Essentially contacting external sources to try to pressure the United States to do something. Just want to be clear on what's taking place. Let's keep going. If the report is accurate, Kerry could have violated the Logan Act. The Logan Act, officially known as 18 U.S.C. 953, is an old but rarely invoked federal statute prohibiting unauthorized private diplomacy with foreign nations, according to the Federalist Society blog. The Logan Act reads, any citizen of the United States, wherever he may be, who, without authority of the United States, directly or indirectly commences or carries off any correspondence or intercourse with any foreign governments or any officer or agent thereof, with the intent to influence the measures or conduct of any foreign government or any officer or agent thereof in relation to the disputes or controversies with the United States, or to defeat the measures of the United States, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years, or both. This potential crime was not missed by conservatives on Twitter. I bet it wasn't. If the Globe's reporting is accurate, Kerry may have violated 3 key elements of the act. Again, as noted by the Federalist Society, those elements are communicating with a foreign government without any authority of the United States for the purposes of influencing the actions of the foreign government in relation to the dispute of the United States. Damn it. There we are. All right. Still, some policy experts claim that since the Iran deal is still U.S. policy, it might not be a violation of the act, since it's still technically a measure of the United States. The act only applies to conduct that is designed to defeat the measures of the United States or influence the conduct of foreign governments, Professor Vladek said. If all Kerry is doing is working to keep in place something that's still technically a measure of the United States, I don't see how the statute would apply, even if someone was crazy enough to try it. I have to be honest. I don't, so 2 things. I don't want the deal scuttled. The deal shouldn't be scuttled. Iran has lived up to the tenets. No other body associated with it has said otherwise. Just because Benjamin Netanyahu comes out, Benjamin Netanyahu is somewhat of a proven liar and doesn't know what he's talking about, or at the very least he's a biased actor. Nothing has changed. Meaning, if they've lived up to tenets of the agreement, there is no reason for the United States to scuttle it. Part of the reason that this particular deal was problematic was because it allows the stuff of the United States being some kind of cop or something. It's fucking insane. But whatever. The deal is there. And the deal has done what the deal was supposed to do. Shouldn't scuttle it. Now, so that's the first part. The second part. I like what John Kerry is doing. Meaning, I understand why he's doing this. I understand why he's going behind the scenes to try to keep this deal in place. Because I don't think Kerry wants a war with Iran. And in not necessarily wanting a war with Iran, I have to be honest, this was one of the tools that prevented war with Iran. Third, in spite of liking what John Kerry is doing, is it illegal? Probably. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't want them getting rid of the deal, so I understand what John Kerry is doing. I understand why John Kerry is doing it. But let's be honest. You are going outside of the country, or at the very least dealing with foreign actors. Meaning, so you are interacting with another foreign government. And interacting with that foreign government, you're trying to get that foreign government and external governments to put pressure on the United States to get the United States to alter a policy that he believes that the United States is about to take. This thing of jumping on this idea of a measure, I have to be honest, is anything that the court determines that measure to be. If Donald Trump's policy in this is, I want to get rid of this deal. If his policy has been, I want to get rid of this deal from day one, everybody knows that was his policy. Everybody knows that that's what he wanted to do. That's what he screamed about during the campaign. That's what he screamed about in that office. Macron leaving Donald Trump, thinking to himself or saying to himself, or saying when somebody asked him, yes, I think the president is probably going to try to get rid of the deal. And he himself was looking for other ways to try to salvage the deal. It is understood that that's Trump's policy. So, if you're trying to make this stretch of saying, well, U.S. policy is that the deal is in place, so I don't necessarily see it, you could make that argument. The other person can also make that argument that is well known that Trump's policy is to get rid of that deal, making what Kerry doing is illegal. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I mean, ultimately, I think all 3 of those things are true. I think Kerry will probably make the point of the same argument as the other guy. It's policy of the United States, technically, that this deal is in place until the deal is absolutely changed, etc., etc. Will anything come of it? Who knows? Will Donald Trump get pissed off that Kerry is doing this, in which case Donald Trump will try to push prosecutors to go after John Kerry for the Logan Act? Who knows? It's Donald Trump. Is it possible? Yes. Will they do it? I know people tend to think there are two tiers of systems of justice in the country. One for the us and one for them. That would lead people to probably believe that nothing is going to take place with John Kerry on this. By the same token, Donald Trump has been extraordinarily clear that he wants to get rid of the Iran deal. So, I don't know. But this is the news. This is what's taking place. This is breaking. Conservatives and even newspapers at this point are questioning whether or not John Kerry is breaking the Logan Act. John Kerry is trying to save the Iran deal. Me personally prefer him to save the Iran deal. I don't want this deal to take place or to leave because I think they're using this as a pretext to attack Iran, even though Iran has not broken any tenets of the deal, at least as far as we can tell. So again, three divergent thoughts. If I'm just being honest, and if I'm not trying to be a biased actor and saying that, Kerry is not doing anything wrong and everything else, then I may have a different opinion. But ultimately, my opinion is, yes, Kerry is breaking the Logan Act. Or at the very least, an interpretation of this could be made that Kerry is breaking the Logan Act. But whether something's going to be done about it is a whole separate thing. And on the third part is, I understand why he's doing it. He should do it. He should do it. So, yes, I know those things sound like I'm saying two separate things, but I'm not. But those things are somewhat divergent. The deal should be saved. So, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to rattle on, because I feel like I'm not explaining why I'm saying it in this way. But I think all three of those things are somewhat divergent. Yes, Kerry is trying to save the deal. That was known. Yes, he is interacting with foreign actors in this case. That's known. He is trying to get those foreign actors to pressure the United States to change what the United States wants to do. If it was actually United States, the measure of the United States policy in itself, to not scuttle the deal, then Kerry would have no reason to go and try to get foreign actors to get them to change what they're going to do. That's kind of my point, and what I'm saying, it sounds like he is breaking that act, because the measure in this case is what Donald Trump is intending to do and what everyone knows Donald Trump is intending to do. Kerry can make the argument from a legal standpoint that, well, wait a minute, measure from my standpoint and the way I was seeing this has to do with what the U.S. policy is technically on the ground with this thing still in force, not the fact that policy or Trump's policy is to change this thing. Trump in this case could argue, well, look, everybody knows what my policy is. Everybody knows what my policy is going to be. My policy was going to be getting rid of this deal from day one, and you were out there actively going against what U.S. policy was going to be on this deal. This was my choice as the president of the United States, and you were trying to go after this choice. Who knows? Is Trump crazy enough to go after him? It would not shock me in the least. Will he go after him? Maybe not. Maybe not. Would love to stay, but Friday night, I got to go slam down shots harder than Jamal's push progressive voices, talking points, and enjoy your night. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Joshua Renshaw. And yeah, I'm not going to keep this one long, so I want this one digestible to whoever, wants to watch short videos. So you guys have a good one. Joshua, enjoy your shots. You all have a good night. Thanks, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support through Patreon. Thanks, everyone.